What's good, Dark Mafia? Welcome to Flat Earth Friday, man. We're doing a Flat Earth video today. Yup. Nope. Flat Earth video today. And yeah, I don't sway one way or the other when it comes to the Flat Earth theory. Um, Honestly, I don't know what to believe in when it comes to that. But we're gonna get into it today. Feel free to debate into the comments. That's what they're there for. Merch coming soon. Still working on the merch. Yeah, I know it's going a little slow, but I'm making sure it's the right stuff. Um, yeah. Other than that, man, happy Friday, and let's get right into it, y'all.
With a sphere of 4,000 miles radius being spun round once every 24 hours, a little bit of calculations will show that that person there is being spun round at about 1,000 miles an hour and it doesn't know it. I mean, this is obvious nonsense. You go on a merry-go-round and it goes, I doubt, more than 10 miles an hour and you get off all dizzy. You mean to tell me that people can be spun round at approximately 1,000 miles an hour and not know it? Why, if this is so, this whole room that we're in is supposedly being spun round as something of approximately that order of speed, and we don't know it.
This might just be the best flat earth proof you've ever come across. And trust me, it's going to make you rethink everything. You've heard all the theories about Earth being round, right? We've all seen the pictures from space, the CGI animations, the globe in classrooms. But what if all of that was just part of a larger story? What if you've been missing something right in front of your eyes this entire time? According to what we've been told, the Earth's circumference is about 24,901 miles. Okay, cool. But if that were true, there would need to be a very specific amount of curvature happening as we move across the planet. I mean, we're supposed to be on a ball, right? So naturally it should curve in every single direction, not just the one you're looking at. Think about it for a second. On a ball, no matter where you are, the ground beneath you should bend away. But when you actually look for that curvature, where is it? Now here's where it gets interesting. Instead of relying on NASA's billion-dollar equipment and fisheye lenses, what if you just took matters into your own hands? Some people have done just that, sending high-altitude balloons with regular, non-distorted lenses. And what do you see? No curve. A flat horizon as far as the eye can see. Flat, straight, level. You ever wonder why they're called airplanes and not airballs? They fly straight across the sky, never curving, to match the supposed curvature of a globe. If we were on a ball, wouldn't they need to constantly adjust their altitude? But they don't. They fly level, and don't even get me started on gravity, because let's face it, that's just a theory. After all these years, gravity still hasn't been proven. What we do know, water doesn't stick to a ball. Ever tried balancing water on a basketball? Exactly. The math is another thing that doesn't add up. There's supposed to be a curve of about 8 inches per mile squared. So why don't we ever see it? From high up, you'd expect to see a pretty clear curve, yet the horizon stays flat. That's something you can see with your own eyes. No need for fancy space agencies to tell you otherwise. So why the push to make us believe we're spinning on a ball through space? What's the end game here? Here's the thing. You don't have to take anyone's word for it, not even mine. Just think critically, look around you. Everything in your everyday experience shows a flat, stationary world. They've been pushing the globe model on us since we were kids, but why? Maybe it's time we start questioning that narrative. And don't feel bad if you've believed in the globe your whole life. We've all been there, myself included. But once you start doing your own research, things start making a lot more sense. Suddenly it clicks. The flat earth isn't just a theory for some fringe group. There are real, undeniable proofs right in front of us. You've just got to be willing to see them.
You gotta be willing to see them, y'all. You know, everything doesn't mean that, just because one group says that it is what it is, doesn't mean it is what it is. Question everything.
We look at their rockets. This is how they claim they get into outer space, is these rockets. Their rockets never go straight up. Every single rocket launch from a government space agency, you'll notice, follows a parabolic curve. It goes up, it reaches a peak, but what they do is as the rocket starts coming back down, they make sure that it goes down over the ocean, out of the way of any curious observers. Anyone can see it coming back down to Earth, asks, hey, how come the rocket's not going up anymore? Well, it's going around the curvature of the Earth, is what they tell us. So every single rocket, the reason that it follows a parabolic curve, they say, is because it's going around the curvature of the Earth. The real reason is they can't get up any higher than that.
The only thing that's been to space
They tell us that the Earth is a sphere. They show us pictures of a sphere, of a circle. It's a perfect circle. And then they come out and they say, well, it's actually an oblate spheroid. Oh, what's that? Well, it's a sphere that's flattened at both poles, so it's more of an oval shape. It actually bulges out south of the equator, as well as being flattened at the poles. So it's more pear-shaped.
So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby's a good word. It's like pear-shaped.
So now it's pear-shaped. So why are all of these official NASA photos and videos showing perfect spheres when it's actually an oblate spheroid or a pear-shaped spheroid? They can't get their story straight. And the reason they keep changing it is that to fit the model, they have to change the shape of the Earth. South of the equator is larger than north of the equator because lines of longitude that just extend outwards, they don't contract back. So they concede that in their pear model. They say, well, the side bulges out south of the equator. It's bigger south of the equator. Yeah, it is, because it's flat. But instead of admitting that, they just, make tweaks to their model as time goes on. They say that the ball Earth tilts back 23.5 degrees. That's another tweak they made because we can see Polaris, which is right over the North Pole, from 23.5 degrees south latitude. Shouldn't be able to see that on a ball. So they just tilt the Earth back and then okay, now you can see it. And so they come up with explanations in reverse like this. Damage control, reverse engineered explanations.
Let me show you the real true reason why we have to fly over Alaska just to get to Asia. Check this out. Now here's the flight pattern on a globe. The guy leaves Seattle, Washington, flies over Alaska, kind of curves around the so-called globe and lands in Asia. Okay. Now, if you still don't get it, let me break it down to you this way. On a globe map, all the pilot had to do was leave Seattle, Washington, fly straight across the sea to Asia, which would have been the shortest route. Fuel-wise, whatever you want to call it, that would have been the shortest route. But he can't do that because it's impossible. Now let me show you why he takes the route that he takes. Now let's have a look at the same route on a flat Earth map. Okay, here we have the United States, the west coast of the United States. Here we have Asia, which is where the guy went. Well, look what's right in between. Alaska. So if you leave here, going to Asia, guess where you're gonna fly across? Alaska. Let me zoom in on the map so you guys can see just a little bit better here. As you can see right there, Alaska, right in between Asia and the United States. Now, let's put a marker on there so you guys can see it's a straight line, straight across. Alaska is right in between. So as you can see, they don't choose to fly that route. They have no choice but to fly that route. Now let's check out a flight from New York to Moscow, Russia. Okay, now if you look up the flight pattern on Google Maps, it will show you a route leaving New York, going through the tip of Canada, then through the tip of Greenland, then through the tip of Iceland, through Sweden, and then into Moscow. Now let me zoom in on this map so you guys can see that better. Like I said, it leaves New York, goes through the tip of Canada, through the tip of Greenland, through the tip of Iceland, over Sweden, and then into Moscow. Now, doesn't that strike a little bit awkward with you guys? I mean, anybody with common sense knows that the fastest route between A and B is in a straight line, as we see here. I mean, you do not have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. It's common sense. From point A to point B is a straight line that will always be the fastest and shortest route. So anyways, on a globe, this would be your shortest route from New York to Moscow. But instead, this is the route that they give you. Now, I'm going to show you why they take this route. let's go to the flat Earth map. Now, check out what you have to pass to get from New York to Moscow on a flat Earth map, a straight line. Check this out. The edge of Canada, the edge of Greenland, straight over Iceland, straight over Sweden, and into Moscow. Huh, imagine that. There you go. Now it makes sense. The flight pattern makes total sense on a flat Earth map because it has to go straight across those countries to get to Moscow.
Now I'm going to throw a bonus in for you. This is a meme from TikTok from a guy saying this is how Japan attacked Pearl Harbor according to flat earthers. Ha ha ha. Okay, now let's crush this meme.
Okay, once again, it's really, really simple. I'll show you guys the real route from Japan to Pearl Harbor. Now check this out. Here we go. I'll show you with the real map, flat Earth map. Okay? 1892. As it says right here, scientifically and practically correct as it is.
I ain't gonna take that stay
Boston
back.
Public
I'll be singing
Library.
on till the hits
See
come in
there.
all caps. I ain't gonna lay back,
Help.
pray that someone's gonna
Pushed
help
by
me.
the
Ain't
Buffalo
nobody like
Electro
that.
Type
I ain't gonna
Racing
wait, that's
Company.
all fact. Give me
Buffalo,
one shot
New
and I'll
York.
never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious.
Cool.
I'ma go cause something, can't stop this.
Now
I'ma
let's go
steal
right up.
everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing
this right
everyone
here?
complain when they thoughtless. Taste the
That's
pain,
United
it's like
States.
candy canes.
See
It
this
makes
right
me
here?
go change
That's
into a
Canada.
better frame, into a better
this right
name.
here?
Society's insane, we all live for
That's
fame.
Alaska. See this right here? That's Japan. Now, you know what this is right out here? Pearl Harbor. Okay, now look at the distance. Japan, Pearl Harbor. The shortest and fastest route when you look at the real map. Stop listening to these clowns, these trolls that are here to deceive. I just showed you the real route right there. Now stop paying attention.
So you want something really easy to understand that the Earth isn't a spinning ball orbiting the sun. Well, all I'll need is Polaris and the Georgia Guidestones. And I know, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to use rocks that had to keep the population under 500 million. I know, terrible, but you're gonna see why in just a second. So if you weren't aware, Polaris stays in the exact same spot in our night sky, and during the day we just can't see it, and it has for thousands of years. And if you want to say that there was another North Star, I'm calling pseudoscience right away. Extraordinary claims in absence of extraordinary evidence, like for real. But it gets way worse. Not only does Polaris stay in the exact same location in the sky, the Georgia Guidestones had a hole drilled into it that sat on Polaris 24/7, every single day and night. How is that possible if we're doing this? Do you know how much synchronicity is in our sky? The sun goes around the level plane that we live on every 24 hours to create day. The moon phases to create months. The stars realign in the exact same location every single year, once a year. Same thing with the Orion Belt. It aligns above the pyramids in Giza every year, once a year. I want you to just look at this and think, would there be any synchronicity in the sky if we were actually on a ball doing this? Would the Georgia Guidestones be able to line up with Polaris constantly if we were actually doing this? Now let's jump into reality. The North Star is fixed here in the firmament. The stars, the sun, and the moon rotate above us. The Earth is fixed and motionless. That's how all of the constellations have stayed in the exact same shape, because the stars and everything are apparently doing their own orbits around their own black holes. And how would they stay in the exact same shape? Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, Polaris, Cephus. There's just simply no other explanation for how Polaris would stay in the exact same spot. You'll see the trails when they get farther away from the North Star. they get longer. It's because they're all fixed in the firmament, doing a circular motion over our head. Everyone thinks that the luminaries in the sky are a good proof that the Earth is a ball, but I'd say otherwise. I even searched Constellation's Earth model, trying to figure out how you guys believe this works, and the first picture that pops up is a flat Earth.
Okay, you guys remember how I showed you the...
Man, so that's interesting, because how do you look through that little stone and it's always the same star pointed at it? If we're spinning in circles, you know what I'm saying? We're spinning, then we're spinning around the sun. And that star should be spinning around its own thing, you know? That's interesting.
maps that were here on Earth before 1958, before the governments took them out. Now I'm going to show you the Encyclopedia Britannicas in the public libraries before 1958. Here is Volume 2 out of the alphabet A. And we're going to flip to the Antarctica, and this is from 1958, as you can see. Now, we're going to flip to the Antarctica and see what the Encyclopedia Britannica from 1958, before the Antarctic Treaty, says is there. Now, you won't find this in the new encyclopedias because the government's banned them. But what I want you to notice right here is, notice how it says, the flights proved inland areas to be featureless in character with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Take a really, really close look at that. Now I'm going to zoom it in for you. When they returned to New Zealand, these flights proved the inland areas to be features with a character with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, let me show you with an image of what a flat Earth map would look like. Now, this is what a latitude 80 degrees south would look like on a flat Earth map. As you can see, the dome comes down closer to you over the wall, which would be about 13,000 feet. Now, if you go back out into the center of the Earth, or up the North Pole, and try to go up to the firmament with a little bit of calculation, it's going to show that it's about 385,500 feet away. It's really, really simple, folks. Now, if you're not familiar with any of this at all, and you're just now new to all this, you could say, well, this guy is crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But what you got to ask yourself is, why do all the maps before 1958 show a flat Earth with the ice wall around it and a firmament, a dome? And why does the encyclopedia tell you that there's a dome there, and it gives you the exact height at a certain latitude and longitude? Well, the reason is because in 1958, that's when all governments and all nations of the world signed the UN treaty to ban all civilians from going to the Antarctica. And NASA came in and they erased everything, just like they're erasing everything today. So again, ask yourself, if all this existed before 1958, why doesn't it exist now? How come it all of a sudden was erased and just disappeared out of your history books, out of your encyclopedias, out of your libraries? Wake up, people. Wake up.
Rainbows are undeniable proof that we are under a firmament. So you probably always wondered why a rainbow is in the shape of a dome, why it's always arched. Now science will tell you that a rainbow is caused when sunlight enters a water droplet, bends, reflects, and comes out as a visible spectrum. Now while that's true for the most part, what they're not telling you is that the raindrops are only there to act as a screen, to capture what's being projected. In order to fully grasp what a rainbow is, you first need to understand refraction. I know we've all seen this image before. Refraction is the bending of light as it transports from one transparent medium, like glass, into another. So here we have a white light hitting a glass prism and turning into a straight rainbow. But notice, we have never seen a straight rainbow. We've never seen a rainbow that forms right angles or one that goes straight up or straight down. It's always in the shape of a dome. And the funny thing is, to actually create a rainbow indoors, you need a mirror. You need a prism. But not just any mirror, you need a mirror submerged in water. Now, since our mirror here is flat, our rainbow, which is reflecting the water, or mist, is going to be a straight flat rainbow. So understand, the rainbow is always going to take shape of the medium it's being reflected off of. So what is the medium being reflected outside? Our glass firmament, the glass dome. It's really that simple. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass. Just as creating a rainbow indoors requires a mirror submerged in water, Genesis tells us that there are waters above our firmament. God made the firmament, which divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above it. And it was so. These are the very same waters that were released to flood the earth during the days of Noah. There's even several mentions in scripture of floodgates that God opens up from above to reset the earth. And you'll find the firmament and the same flood story in the Quran, the Vedas, and countless other cultures. So, who's really being heretical here? Now, take it a step further, look at this rainbow above an ocean. Notice how the colors are inverted in the ocean below from the original rainbow. The colors are in the opposite order. Well, obviously it's because the water is mirroring the rainbow, right? Now look at this double rainbow. What do you see? The second rainbow is just a reflection from the glass firmament above. The ocean below and the firmament above are both acting as mirrors, as above, so below. And it only gets weirder, folks. You know what else is strange? The more north you go, the higher a rainbow arcs. For example, here's a rainbow in Alaska. Notice how high that is. Go just a few hundred miles south and it gets lower in Canada. And you go much further out to Australia and here's what they start looking like. Then, if you look for rainbows in Antarctica, at least through photos, thanks to the Nature Channel, since none of us are apparently allowed to go out there unless we're willing to spend thousands of dollars for a guided tour to visit an ice shelf. But look how flat that rainbow is. Just as the firmament's elevation changes the further you go out south, the rainbows you see also reflect that altitude. Look, the firmament is very real. Look into Operation Dominic, Operation Fishbowl, Deep Freeze, all those military expeditions in the 1900s that you were never taught about in school. This is not news to your beloved government, folks. Once you start putting the Creator's words to the test, all the lies we've been taught begin to fall apart. The earth is fixed and immovable. There are ends to the earth. There is water above and below, and the firmament is placed to divide them.
Documented proof
I found
of flat
extremely
Earth.
interesting. Official documentation claiming the Earth is flat, and that mathematical equations used in aeronautics assume a flat, non-rotating Earth. Check these out. This is a CIA document sourced from the Russians, and it's titled Dissertations Defended in the Scientific Council of the Institute of Physics of the Earth. In the document, it mentions a near sun and a formula that is derived on the assumption of a flat Earth. This United States Army document from the Army Research Laboratory on the propagation of electromagnetic fields over flat Earth mentions transmitters placed on the surface of a flat, idealized Earth. In one of its figures, it also mentions flat Earth. In another Army Research Laboratory document, it depicts a diagram showing a flat Earth, crepuscular rays that we mentioned earlier, and a near and localized sun. Here's another document on projectile flight dynamics, and the equations in the document assume a flat Earth. Here's a NASA document on the derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model. Introduction. This report details the development of the linear model of rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. NASA document on the SR-71 Blackbird and its top speed of 2,193 miles per hour. Maneuvers depending on a non-turbulent atmosphere and a non-rotating Earth. Federal Aviation Administration document. Equations of motion assuming a flat, non-rotating Earth. Another NASA document. A rigid aircraft flying in a stationary atmosphere over a flat, non-rotating Earth. An aircraft model for the AIAA Controlled Design Challenge. Flight dynamics of a rigid aircraft flying in a stationary atmosphere over a flat, non-rotating Earth. NASA Technical Paper 1285. Flat, non-rotating Earth. A NASA Georgia Tech project in conjunction with the U.S. Air Force. A model frequently used is that of a flat, non-rotating Earth. You might argue that some of these documents are taken out of context. But you have to admit that a lot of these flight calculations are based on a flat, non-rotating Earth because they come right out and say it.
That's NASA and the government. That's proof right there.
Have you ever noticed that the sun and moon appear exactly the same size in the sky?
Yeah.
Think about it. We're told the sun is 400 times larger than the moon, but also 400 times farther away, creating a perfect illusion where they look identical in size. But what are the odds of that? Is this just an incredible cosmic coincidence? Or is it evidence that we've been lied to about our world? According to mainstream science, the sun is 93 million miles away and a massive 865,000 miles in diameter,
Why it look the same?
while the moon is only 2,159 miles wide and just 238,000 miles away. They claim that these two celestial bodies are so perfectly proportioned that they just happen to look the same size from Earth. But here's the problem: there is zero scientific reason why this should happen. Why would we just happen to be positioned in the exact spot where this illusion works? And if the sun is really that gigantic and distant, why does it appear small and local in time-lapse videos and real-world observations? Even more suspicious, the moon and sun follow nearly identical paths in the sky, staying in close alignment throughout the year. If they were really different sizes and distances, their movements should be completely different. Instead, they behave as if they are part of the same localized system. Let's break this down with real-world evidence. Perfect eclipses. The only reason we can even have a total solar eclipse is because the sun and moon appear the same size. If their proportions were even slightly off, eclipses wouldn't be possible. Personal observations: watch the sun and moon rise and set. They move across the sky at similar speeds and stay the same apparent size all day. That wouldn't happen if one were 400 times bigger and farther away than the other. If the sun were really 93 million miles away, it should shift positions dramatically when viewed from different parts of Earth, but it doesn't. Instead, it behaves as if it's much closer. And here's something strange. Why do we never see the dark side of the moon? It's supposedly rotating, yet we always see the same face. Could it be that the moon is actually something entirely different than what we've been told? Try this experiment yourself. Cover a street light with your thumb, then walk away. As you move back, your thumb no longer covers the light. That's perspective. Now ask yourself, if the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, how does the moon perfectly cover it during an eclipse? The math doesn't add up. The only logical explanation is that the sun and moon are much closer and smaller than we're told. This is for entertainment purposes.
Eddie Griffin, ladies and gentlemen. He has talked about the Earth being flat for a long time. Let's get into it.
Just like every other day, I need to go to outer space. What's out in outer space? And they never make it. The rocket ship hits the firmament, and the firmament stops it. Ain't nobody been to the moon. Ain't nobody been outside this giant cage we're trapped in. The firmament is real. This is why rocket ships take off and they start shooting at an angle. They'll scrape the firmament and they always land in the ocean. Then they shoot some grainy film that they were on the moon. It scraped the surface of the firmament, landed. It's only one day, but the landing is like a week later. But that's when they show it. All the shit happened in one day. There's no satellites out there either, nigga. There's no satellites.
You know, rockets, they have so many compartments that break off when you go. So how does it shit the same when it lands? Yeah. Same as it takes off.
Or even the satellite.
No, there's no satellites. They are hanging satellites in the firmament. This is a GPS system. And that's the permanent GPS system. They call it space. But the space between Earth and God is called the firmament. And until he opens that up, it's going to be continued. Firmament. That's called the firmament. It's in the Bible. Nothing will get through the firmament. Flat Earth is real. Right? The world is not round. If it was, I could disprove this many times, but anyway. There's an ice wall around our three-dimensional world called Earth that lays on a two-dimensional plane. Right? But we're trapped in the center on this planet in an ice wall. This is why if you fly from anywhere on Earth to Australia, to Antarctica, why do you always have to fly to England? To make it seem like the world is round, you had to travel that far. From Florida to Antarctica is about four and a half hours on a straight shot. So why the fuck you gotta fly from Florida to London and then there? Anywhere you come from, you gotta go to London and then London and then there. No, you're going to London because the reptilians there said you must come through there.
Hey, did he just sum up our whole video? Man, I should have put him as the outro.
Here's a flight route. We're going from Abu Dhabi to Auckland, and it goes all the way over here and then all the way back down. Why didn't it just cut across over here? But when you look at it on a flat Earth map, it's on a straight line, right? I'm going to show you a couple more of these, and then I'm going to answer an objection that you're going to have. Buenos Aires to Qatar, actually it was the other way around. This was the World Cup. They were going from Qatar to Buenos Aires, but they went to Rome first to fuel. Why did they go there when they could have just gone here? And the answer is because they went from Qatar to Rome to Buenos Aires, right? That makes sense on a flat Earth. It makes no sense on a globe Earth.
So a flat earther sent me this video yesterday as an explanation for the moon's phases. And I want you to see if you notice what I notice when they demonstrate. First, the moon, I guess, is a shallow bowl. Okay, its surface has got see-through parts as well. Okay, putting in the blue liquid. Now look, see if you notice what I notice. Okay, it goes in.
Crescent.
All right, so the crescents are shown. Anybody else notice anything about the phases of the moon here? All right, and he's going to do it again with a darker liquid for nighttime moon. See if you can notice anything. All right, there's the daytime phases. Here's the nighttime phases of the moon. It becomes pretty obvious.
Wait, but you really believe the Earth's flat?
Now that was different. So that means the moon going into the waters above the planet, huh?
Yes.
I want to know, like, definitively why you believe that.
Flat Earth actually brought me to God, not the Bible. The first page of Genesis talks about the firmament. Why the Earth is flat is because, Bradley, you've never in your life seen a picture of Mars, Jupiter, Pluto that's not computer generated. Look at Operation Fishbowl Dominic. Dominic in Latin means of the Lord, fishbowl of the Lord. They shot rockets to try and crack the firmament. That's why when you go scroll out with Google Earth, which all the photos were taken by Google plane, not a satellite.
Why would satellites just be fake?
Go on Google, search up satellites and scroll. Tell me how many of those photos are computer generated fakes.
Yeah, I guess maybe they'd be fake.
Now, if you look at the ones that are real, it's the ISS. They've been caught with harnesses, wires, green screen, chroma keys, blue screens. They've been caught faking space. How can you have a pressurized system like Earth? It's a logical fallacy. And you're going to say gravity? Gravity is not, it's just a theory. It's a math model that foam is denser than the medium that surrounds it, which is air. If it was lighter, it would float. It would be more buoyant. Are you telling me a helium balloon is the only element that defies gravity? A f***ing balloon? A little Pikachu balloon is beating gravity that's holding f***ing big Bradley and skyscrapers to the f***ing ground? A helium balloon's beating it? No, it's more buoyant.
the science community is ignoring a lot of the things that we're looking at, and so normal people are going out and doing experiments. And one of the experiments has turned up an amazing fact that we've not been told, and it destroys the whole idea of this heliocentric system, and that is the moon. Now, you can actually measure the temperature of the moonlight next to the temperature of the shade of the moonlight, and you'll find the moonlight is colder than the shade, the opposite from the sun. So the moon is throwing out its own light, and that light is the opposite from the sun. Now, that tells you that it's not reflecting the sun's light. It's producing its own, and its light is different from the sun's. So, you know, the scientific community have not told us this, yeah, because they won't tell us this, because it destroys this idea that the sun is, you know, is lighting up the moon.
Everyone knows, like, if you're in sunlight, it's colder in the shade, right? So if it's 100 degrees in the sun, it's 90 degrees in the shade. You go to the moonlight, like, especially in a full moon, especially if it's high in the sky, the moon is its own independent object. It is not reflecting the sun rays. The sun is its own object. Also, you know, about the same size, which is, you know, again, coincidentally, you know, why the moon fits so perfectly in front of the sun during an eclipse. We always thought it was coincidence that even though it was 400 times farther away, that it was also exactly 400 times less diameter, which is why it fits. And the other weird thing about the moon, which everyone thinks, oh, it's just a coincidence, is that we never see the other side of it. It's constantly perfectly rotating, so we only see one side of the moon. Exactly one side. It's not like we have like a quarter of a degree every 5 years or half a degree here and there. It's always the same side. There are no coincidences when it comes to this system. It was deliberately built, but I think it was deliberately built to be detected. And I think we were naturally supposed to figure this thing out maybe as late as the 1970s, but the government figured it out first, and they have been spending a heck of a lot of money trying to keep it a secret.
30 short proofs that the Earth is flat. Follow if you're curious why people believe in it. Look at how sun rays break through the clouds. See the angles? They spread out in different directions. That suggests the sun is not as far from the clouds as we're told. If the sun were 93 million miles away, the rays would appear parallel. Airplanes always fly straight. On a globe, they'd have to constantly tilt downward, otherwise they'd drift into space. Water always levels itself. If we were on a sphere, oceans would be in constant chaos, but they're calm. There's a huge difference in temperature between the equator and the poles. On a flat Earth, the sun circles above the equator, which would explain the heat. If the sun were really that far away, the temperature difference wouldn't be so extreme. The temperatures on other planets also seem strange. For example, Mercury is colder than Venus, even though it's closer to the sun. The horizon looks flat at any altitude, no fisheye lens. You can see this from high-altitude balloons. Ships can see lighthouses from very far away. On a curved Earth, this shouldn't be possible. Some flight paths don't make sense on a globe, but they look much more logical on a flat Earth map. Like Sydney to Johannesburg. Especially when crossing the Pacific, wouldn't it be easier to fly straight across? And look at how flights avoid Antarctica. Strange, right? It looks like they're hiding something, but these routes make sense on a flat map. We see full moons in the day, even when Earth is supposedly between the sun and moon. That's not how shadows work. Why is the sun so bright during the day? If other stars were even brighter and bigger, shouldn't the night sky be just as bright? They say the planet spins at 1,000 miles per hour, plus the sun moves, plus the galaxies spin. That adds up to insane speeds. Yet we feel nothing. Wouldn't there be chaos? Planes shouldn't fly the way they do. They'd either reach too fast or miss their destinations. Weather doesn't seem affected by gravity. If Earth spun that fast, weather would be completely unstable. Bullets shot straight up land only a few hundred meters away. With rotation, they should land far off, even kilometers away. With that kind of spinning, water should fly off into space. Just watch how water behaves on a spinning tennis ball. Imagine we're in a vacuum, like they say. Look what vacuum does to sealed tanks. If Earth were in space, wouldn't it collapse too? Lasers shot over long distances stay level, they don't curve. Terrain may affect the result, but not Earth's curvature. Star positions haven't changed in hundreds of years. There's no visible parallax. Constellations stay the same. At the North Pole, Polaris always stays in the same place, and stars rotate around it. Strange if the universe is expanding. NASA talks about planets in other galaxies, but we don't see a single space station in real footage. When building long railways, even over 13,000 kilometers, they don't account for any curvature. If Earth were a globe, canals would curve and water would flow off somewhere. But canals like the Suez look flat and motionless. Gravity? Have you ever seen actual, direct proof of it? Ask AI sometimes, it even gives flat Earth info. Try it yourself. Many proofs for the globe are questionable, like in Antarctica, where shadows shift in seconds. Edited images of the globe. Pause and look, something feels off. CGI is used in every globe Earth video. Radio signals often reach far beyond the horizon past where they should be blocked by curvature. Time zones don't align well with a rotating globe. Neighboring regions with the same sun position often have very different local times, which fits better with a man-made system for a flat map. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The Flativerse app will change how you view everything, from Earth's shape to your place in the universe. Tap into maps, simulations, and secrets they keep hidden. See it for yourself. Link in bio.
Now, a lot of those didn't, like, they made sense. You know, dispute it in the comments, man. But, yeah, a lot of that made sense.
Believe the Earth is flat? I know the Earth is flat. Seriously? Astrology and flat Earth or true Earth are symbiotic. You cannot have one without the other. If you have a ball and you are spinning, flying through space, chasing this fireball, your constellations would change every now and then. And our constellations have never changed. The stars have never changed. We have the same 12 zodiac signs that we had back in the Dendera stones in Egypt over 5,000 years ago. We're not moving. Every single ancient society knew this. The Mayans, the Aztecs, the Hindus, the Egyptians, every single ancient culture knew that we live in a geocentric universe, not a heliocentric where we are spinning, chasing this ball of fire while all of these other planets are rotating around us, while all of these other stars are rotating around us. If that was the case, Polaris would move, number one, which is the North Star, and it doesn't. Number two, all of the constellations would not rotate solely around Polaris, but they do. Therefore, we are the center of the universe. Believing in the Big Bang Theory is something that is very common today. People think, we're the product of an accident. We don't have a creator. We're just here to consume and live our best life, not live up to our potential. But if you're the center of the universe, that means that you're very special. That means that you have a creator who is very conscious and cares about you. And when you see yourself as being watched by these heavenly bodies above you 24/7, you start to take your life a little bit more seriously.
There you go, guys. Flat Earth Friday comes to a close. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, man. It was an interesting one today. Like I said, I don't sway back and forth, but I definitely I see some of the proof and about the flat Earth, and some of that makes sense, and the stuff that we all know about the round Earth, that makes sense too. So, again, debate it in the comments. Love you, Dxrk Mafia. Be safe out there. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend. Ignore the giant pimple on my lip. Can't help it. But, yeah, we're going to get up out of here, y'all. See y'all Monday.